Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to something that, I'll be honest, this is my type of video, man. This literally popped up on my feed. I think it was posted 2 days ago. It said 1 day ago, but I think, yeah, it says 2 days ago. So, not long ago at all. And I just saw it pop up. And these are the sort of videos that I like watching, man. These comparison videos just... I mean, I saw a map on the front, so maybe it's related to that. Maps of showing differences, I don't know. But... now there's one here that looks interesting too. God, there's a lot of videos, man. It's looking good. But yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy this. If you want more of these types of reactions, let me know. I've reacted to this channel before, so I know that I can react to these videos without any fear. And I know these videos are very high quality, so go show this channel some support and love if you haven't already before. Give the video a like, subscribe if you enjoy it, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, links are in the description to my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Patreon if you want to find any of those. But let's just jump into this, man.
Europe.
Is it all do good?
One continent, 44 countries, according to the UN.
Because this guy's Portuguese American or American Portuguese, isn't he?
146
so got links to both.
People. The United States are part of North America, only one country with 329 million people, less than half of Europe. The United States are often compared to the European Union or Europe as a whole a lot of times. So in this video I thought it would be interesting to take a look at a few indicators and check how it is that they in fact compare. We've already covered a few of the basics, amount of countries and population, but what about size? The United States have an area of around 9.8 million square kilometers, while Europe has a size...
yeah, population density, the population density here is nuts, bro. It's nuts.
Of around 10.5 million, although this can vary depending on which limits you attribute to the continent. So now that we've covered all of those basics, let's jump into a few specific indicators and find out how the two compare. First, comparing the latitude. It's very interesting to see the overlay of the European cities on top of the US territory.
Oh, so it's, yeah, like it's like seeing sort of how London is level with... does it say here? London's level with... this is Canada. I don't know what area of Canada this is, but it's Canada. And it's not at the bottom of Canada either. I feel like this is... London's probably above the line of where the majority of Canadians actually live. Like, I swear the majority of Canadians literally live like under here. So it's over that, which is nuts, because when you sort of think about it, you'd think it's level with like New York and that kind of level, but no, it's way higher. So it's interesting to see the latitude. And you see places like Miami, which is in Saudi Arabia. Los Angeles is in... not Morocco. What's next to Morocco? What is it? Egypt? No, Egypt's here. Algeria, I think. This is Algeria. So Los Angeles and San Diego are there. Honolulu is literally just in the middle of the ocean. Anchorage, Fairbanks, Yellowknife. Yeah, there's none that are level with the UK.
And vice versa.
Which makes you realise.
As stupid as it may sound, I had no idea Reykjavik was as further north as northern Canada. The same applies to Oslo. It makes sense that Portuguese and Spanish cities are on the same level as California, at least climate-wise.
Yeah.
But it's weird, for instance, that Ankara is at the same level as Delaware. For some reason, I always thought it was so much further south. It's also strange
because it's so hot, Ankara, isn't it? It's like... well, it's in Turkey, isn't it? It's the capital of Turkey, so I mean, I don't know how hot it gets there, but Turkey in general is hot. So yeah.
See that Los Angeles is on the same latitude as Algeria in North Africa,
Algeria,
but that New York is at the same latitude as Azerbaijan. Speaking of Portugal, Spain and California, how do the US and Europe compare when it comes to the hours of sunlight they get every year? Through this map, we understand that the southwest...
we get none, bro. Look at the sunlight we get here. Oh god, the UK is... we are not living good here, man. That is for sure. It's interesting that some parts of Scandinavia get more sunlight than the UK. But then some parts... yeah, that's like Cornwall and stuff, isn't it? God damn, we are malnourished here. And then the Highlands of Scotland. I went here. It's beautiful. I tell you what, it's beautiful to go here. But... and my family lives up, like, right at the top of the Highlands. But yeah, in the summer when we went, it wasn't sunny at all. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, I can definitely see that. But it makes you realise there's no parts of the US that even compare. The closest to it is this shade, right? No, there's this little shade here, which is 1800 to 2000, which is more than nearly all of Europe. Fucking hell, what? That's pretty insane.
West USA gets more hours of sun than anywhere in Europe, over 3,500 a year. And unlike Europe, there's nowhere in the US that gets less than 1,800 hours of sun, as is the case in many areas of Europe, those in light green blue, and dark blue. It's also odd, at least to me who isn't an expert on this matter, how the amount of hours of sun isn't directly related to the latitude of the region. I always assume that the closer to the equator you are, the more hours of sun you get, but we can see on this map that this isn't the case at all, even though we can tell that usually southern areas get more sun. If you know which other factors determine hours of sun, let me know in the comments. Another interesting topic is human development. The United States and Europe are arguably two of the most developed areas of the world. This map compares the human development index of each US state and each European country. In case you don't know, the HDI is calculated as the geometric mean of life expectancy, education, and gross national income per capita. Assuming that those indicators are representative of the quality of life of people, it seeks to measure precisely that. In the United States, there's only one state that doesn't make it into the top 3 HDI categories: Mississippi. When we look at Europe, only a handful of countries are in the top ranking: Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Ireland, Denmark, Germany, Netherlands, and Switzerland. And when you look at Eastern Europe, these levels go significantly down, with many countries in the lowest category, such as Ukraine, Turkey, Serbia,
The UK being here is kind of surprising. And Ireland, I know Ireland's like really good for a lot of things. Scandinavian countries as well. Germany is one of those countries I just see and it's just like, yeah, they're clear. They just seem to have everything. They just seem to know how to do stuff, you know. There's obviously, there's Denmark around here as well. Then you got Switzerland. But if that's Switzerland, Switzerland is expensive. It's one of the most expensive countries in the world. But yeah, this is interesting to see that. And then you see a lot of the US states just are like that. That's pretty nuts. And then a lot of the southern states are sort of comparable to like Spain and Italy. Yeah, that's interesting.
Bosnia-Herzegovina, Albania, and North Macedonia. In Western Europe, Portugal is the only country who isn't in the top 3 levels of HDI. A somewhat subjective comparison of these two areas is also depicted in this other map. This is based in the 2014...
Yep. I've seen these sorts of maps before, how like Europe is just so much lower, the percentage. So, what country is this? Is it Armenia? I think this is... Armenia is one of these two, because this is Turkey. Armenia... Is it Armenia next to Azerbaijan? I want to see this, actually. I want to just make sure. Armenia. I know it's one of those... I'm trying to flex my geography ability. Yeah, it is Armenia, and Azerbaijan is next to it. And Azerbaijan compares to... Because it's a really, like... It's a very, like, Muslim country, isn't it? Compares to, like, obviously different religions, I guess. But in terms of the belief, like, percentage to a lot of the southern US states.
Pew Research Center poll, it's almost 10 years old, so the data might be somewhat outdated and no longer valid. Always keep that in mind for these types of videos where data and maps are presented. The data might not be 100% right and it might be outdated. But in this one, people were asked if they are absolutely certain of God's existence. And the comparison of the results between the US and Europe is astonishing. The majority of US states have over 50% of people being certain of God's...
It's crazy, like, pretty much other than 1, 2, 3, 4 states, the percentage of people that believe, that are certain that God exists, is pretty much 50% plus all over the US. It's crazy how it's so different to Europe, like... It's just nuts how you can be so... Obviously, I guess it's because you're so far from each other, but a lot of people who live in America are like descendants of people from Europe, you know? And it's just interesting how the belief system just changes. I do find this stuff quite cool how it's just different though.
Existence, some even surpassing...
Because when I sort of think of England and the US, or Britain and the US, there's a lot of similarities, but one similarity that there isn't is sort of the religion and the belief system, or sort of people believing in God. Like, there's a lot of churches here. There's a lot of like mosques, churches, all this kind of stuff. You'll come to this country and you'll see all this stuff, and it's all beautiful to see. Like in my city alone, there's some cathedrals that are just they're just beautiful. There's some castles, all this sort of stuff, like churches, etc. But sort of the people that I know, I don't think I have a few friends. Like I have a friend who came over from Nigeria. I have a few friends who are from this country, but a lot of people that I know aren't religious. So it's interesting to me because I guess if you're in the US, you can't. It's sort of the opposite way around. You'll sort of think when you come to the UK, it'll be the same. I don't know, and you just maybe be a bit of a surprise that people aren't as religious. Maybe they are, but people just aren't as open about it or what. So maybe some of my friends are. I don't really talk to my friends about that sort of thing, so maybe they actually are and I don't know, but
70%.
that's a long ramble.
Only Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts have results under 50%, while most of Europe is much less certain in their belief of God. Most of the continent is in yellow, with only 10 to 29% being certain of their belief. Portugal, Poland, Slovakia, Lithuania, and
Georgia
Ukraine,
here as
along
well.
with Bulgaria, go up to 30
Georgia
or
here.
49%, but still not
yeah.
reaching over half of the population. The rest of the Balkans is more religious, but it's only Georgia and Armenia who reach the dark blue level. There's a few countries missing from this map, those in gray. If you have any idea of how religious they are, leave a comment.
I feel like Turkey's quite a religious country. I might be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure they are. I'll be honest, I can't really name these countries. It's like Serbia, Kosovo, Albania. I think those sort of countries. I think Albania's quite. I think they're all, yeah, I guess because they're all the Balkan countries. They are quite religious.
Interesting thing we can compare are age restrictions in the US and Europe. Age restrictions
Okay, let's just hear him talk. Actually,
can be applied to driving, voting, tobacco, or alcohol purchases. Many of these change often, so be aware these might not be correct at the moment you watch. When it comes to driving, the US government allows people to drive at a much younger age.
14? What? 14? 6 months? God damn, when I was 14, I could barely ride a bike. I learned to ride a bike at like 11, I think, maybe 10. I was a late bloomer. I was a late bloomer to walking as well. I think I'm just really slow at learning things. And then I was really quick. I was really fast. And now I love riding my bike. I don't say I'm good on my bike, but it's just, yeah, I'm a slow learner. But 14 and 6 months unsupervised car driving age in South Dakota, I think. I might be so off with that, but yeah, that's pretty insane to me.
South Dakota, it says you can drive at 14 years and 6 months. That's kind of crazy if it's true.
Hell.
The oldest driving age in the US seems to be New Jersey at 17, while in Europe, the vast majority of countries has a 18 years minimum driving age. Only the UK, Iceland, Hungary, and Georgia have lowered it to 17.
I thought it was 18
voting, 18 is common.
And then I found out my friend in college, when I was at college, he was learning to drive at 16 and he could drive at 17. I was like, wait, what? You can do that? I didn't even know. So that's how uneducated or whatever I am on just that kind of thing.
All around, only in Europe are there 2 countries that differ. Austria at 16 and Greece at 17. Although
many people will hate this, but I've still never voted. I've just turned 21 and I've still never voted, and I'm just not even going to get into it, bro.
I'm not sure if these limits.
I probably should, because it's a right, you know. Living in these sorts of countries, it's a right. That's a right you should sort of appreciate. But I'm just sort of at the point now. I'm focusing on other things, man. Whatever happens, happens.
The same for all types of
people
elections.
Hate that.
Tobacco purchase is technically
21. I'm not against it because I don't like smoking. I think smoking's grim. So I wouldn't be opposed to that in the UK. I would. It's just. There's 2 sides to it. I see the positives in the US age, but at the same time, people are just gonna smoke anyway, you know. And surely it just means you get more money, because if you're 21, if you're like 20 and you're trying to smoke, you're just gonna find other ways around to get it, and it just means less money for the government. But yeah, both sides I see. I'm actually surprised. I thought like some of the Balkan countries would be even lower. I thought they'd be a lot lower, but
only allowed over 21 in all of the US, while in Europe you can buy it at 18.
But I do think
alcohol
smoking's
purchasing
grim,
is
man.
also forbidden for people under 21.
The one that everyone
across
knows.
The United States, with the limit ages varying a lot across Europe, but none being higher than 18 or 20. Although again, this also varies depending on the type of alcohol. For instance, in Portugal, I think you can buy beer or wine as long as you're over 18. But
Germany, man, they're wilding out, bro. They are wilding out. I mean, there's the alcohol purchase age, but we'll be honest, we've all drank before the sort of purchase ages, right? I was like, God, I was so young. I was like 15 when I first discovered it, mate. I was hooked, and now I don't drink or get drunk or anything. I just don't find it fun unless it's for like a special event or like a sporting event, you know, like for the World Cup. I'm gonna have fun then. But I'm not the type of person to just drink. I think I enjoyed it when I was younger, and I'm just sort of at the point now where I'm not that fussed. And now I'm 21. I'm bored of it, you know.
Other drinks do have a 20-year age limit, I think. When it comes to comparison between military, for instance, it's a difficult comparison to make. According to Wikipedia, the US Army has a personnel of around 1 million, counting active troops, reserves, and National Guard. And according to this 2018 article from Business Insider, the top 5 strongest militaries in Europe, all of these maps exclude Russia, are France with 390,000, the UK 280, Italy 267, Germany 200, and Spain 175. Together, these alone would surpass the US Army, although you'd still need to take into account the material advantage of the US.
I've learned about this.
Intelligence, tanks, planes, investment, and in these the US has a considerable advantage.
Bruh, whenever I look at this stuff, it blows my mind.
As we can see from this graph, depicting the investment comparisons. But thankfully, most of Europe and the US are allied through NATO, so comparison...
So basically, it's just you combine them together, you know.
...isn't needed, because in the event of a conflict, it is very likely they would be on the same side. And what about an economic comparison? The United States and the European Union are the 2 largest economies globally, in nominal terms. In recent years, only in 2011 did the European Union have a higher GDP than the US. Keep in mind this excludes non-EU Europe. The US's GDP per capita is 63,000, while in the EU it's 33. But keep in mind both of these are on average. There are EU countries and US states with higher and lower values.
See, what confuses me, because obviously the GDP is this and the US is a lot more. But then what leads to like currencies having a higher value? So the pound has a higher value than the dollar. I don't understand that sort of stuff. I probably should, like... I think it does anyway. Maybe after Brexit it's not. I'm close to that. Current, for God's sake, has the highest values. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm actually wrong. Like, I mean in terms of, like, comparing a pound to a dollar, right? I think a pound's like $70. Wait, would that mean the US dollars? Wait, let me just see. Let's just compare them, actually. Because I do find this really... I don't really understand it. Pound to dollar. So £1 in the UK, or £1 pound is $1.23 in the US, which means it's 23... I don't know, it confuses me, man. This means the pound has a higher value, right? Bro, I'm baffled. What is the reason? I don't understand. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the other way around. No, the pound has a higher value because £1 is equivalent to 1.23. So if you go to the US with your £1, you're gonna have $1.23. I don't know how I'm so slow with that. So say I went to the US with 100k, you're gonna have $123,000. God, I'm so slow, man. But yeah, let me know why. I mean, obviously it's to do with stuff like certain events and all this kind of stuff. But why? I don't really get it, because the US is so much richer. Maybe it's because of things like, I swear, like the US has a few countries that aren't, like maybe one in Africa, I think. Is it Libya? That uses the US dollar, and maybe that sort of brings it down, or I don't know. But because I'm talking a lot in this video, but I'm wanting to know these sorts of things, and maybe I should actually search it up, but this is just too much to search, you know.
Also, as we can see from these maps, the US's GDP is mostly carried by California, Texas, Florida, and New York, while Europe's is mostly carried by France, Germany, the UK, Spain, and Italy.
And the UK is mostly carried by London, so yeah, I do see that.
As I make this video, €1 equals $1.07. The euro's value has been higher, and recently its value has decreased a little, approaching parity with the dollar. As we can see from this graph, there was only a short period in the early 2000s when the euro was worth less than the dollar, and there was a point where it was almost worth 50% more. Recently,
that's nuts. This is... Bro, it's like I'm finding out something new. Say you invested here. How would it work? Because people trade from like currencies, right? I don't know what it's called. Is it just currency trading? Like you'll put all your money in this. So say you've got dollars, you'll then put it all in euros at this point. And then say you take it out at this point and you convert it back to dollars, right? yeah, that's how they trade it. But yeah, I don't know. What's it called? Maybe I should get into that, man. I'm learning, bro.
Things have stabilized and they're almost worth the same. But
So
with
slow,
Croatia
man.
joining the European currency next year, it might go up again. Also keep in mind, not all of Europe and not even all of the EU use the euro as their currency. Another interesting point to compare is the percentage of young people aged 18 to 34 that still live in their family's home. Meaning, in most cases, they do not yet have the financial stability to live on their own. Both
Bro, I wish I could. I moved out in 19, 18, 19, 20. I was 19 when I moved out, bro. I wish I could have waited longer, man. If I was in like a nice house and all this kind of stuff, I would have stayed at my parents' home if it was like all like a nice house and just I wasn't pretty much forced to move. Until I was, what, 22, 23, I'd save my money. But yes, sometimes people don't have the circumstances. So at least some people do have the ability to do this. Obviously, circumstances, sometimes it won't be a nice sort of like thing to do. But New York, 40%. It's probably because it's so expensive to live in like the cities like New York, right? I don't know about Buffalo and stuff, but what's the highest in the UK? Oh, sorry, in Europe. 37, 50%.
Both of these maps have data from 2015,
4%.
but from the most recent information I could
1.8.
find about this, the numbers haven't changed a lot. In Europe, Nordic countries have
Oh, 25 to 34 and 18 to 34. Okay, that's different.
very low values. They're also the highest income areas, so it makes sense people can more easily afford to live on their own, but it might also have to do with the cultural element. In Southern
Yeah.
Europe, the amount of young people still living at home is tremendous. 44% in Portugal, 37% in Spain, and 46% in Italy, for instance, while
It's just
Greece,
close to
Bulgaria,
family
and Slovakia
relationships.
are all above 50%. In the US, values are equally as high, with the difference being that there are no states at all below 10%. The lowest value is 14 in North Dakota, and the highest being in New Jersey with 46, although none surpass 50%. These high values are usually connected with the fact that salaries do not pay enough and the cost of living is way too high, both due to
I feel like if this was 25 to 34, it would be lower, right? Obviously, because 18, of course, you're still going to live at home unless you're really unfortunate,
prices,
or you've just got money, you know.
inflation, and also other factors. So that is how the United States and Europe compare in a number
Bro, I
of
love these
indicators
videos, man.
and interesting aspects. There's a lot of things you can compare the two in. If you know of any more, leave a comment and I can always make a part 2 of this. It's always
Please
difficult
do.
to be fair in these comparisons. After all, the United States are a single country and Europe has around 44, but if you take into account that the US are a federal state consisting of 50 states, the comparison makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
Especially when the size of the two is similar. As we can see on this interactive map, the size of the US over Europe is pretty close. And as you saw in the beginning, the number of square kilometers are pretty close as well. In many ways they are similar, but in so many other big differences are visible, many of which signifying a great difference in the way that people live their life and the quality that life has.
God, this is a good channel, man. The reason people can drive at such a young age in the US is because driving is a necessity in many of those western states. There's no public transport in rural South Dakota. I was right. Come on, my geography is coming in clutch. So you have drive to do simple things. For the living at parents' house thing, I think that has a lot to do with the group that was looked at. Yeah, definitely, for sure. It's a big contrast because 18 to 25 is like when you sort of move out, right? But or like in a lot of countries, it's when you're seen as sort of moving out at that sort of age. But yeah, interesting video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. I'm definitely down to do more if this channel does them. Again, I've enjoyed this channel from before, and I just think their videos are fun to watch. But I learned quite a lot here, and I mean, let me know your thoughts on this. Maybe I'll check this one out next. We'll just see. But yeah, until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.